management staff or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
You're listening
to Joey Clark.
Joey Clark.
And his old pal, Mr. Bader.
It's
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark, and my old pal, Mr. Bader, sitting in with me as well, looking very festive in that patriotic shirt of yours. I like that.
3 for 3 with people going, hey, it's no longer July 4th on.
I'm not making fun of you. I like that
shirt.
I think it's got a slab of steak and a hot dog,
And
and a hamburger.
And a pop and a grill and a couple brews.
Right.
Yeah. Good old holiday.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm not doing my usual thing where I constantly undermine
I'm
how
on
you feel.
defense.
Right. No, you look great today.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you.
No, it's not looking great today.
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci. But before we get to all that,
not good at all, Joey.
thank God for another beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it'll be a beautiful show. Montgomery needs a new mayor.
Yes.
And I want to add, God have mercy on me. I'm not even exaggerating, folks. Lord have mercy on me, on Eddie, on everybody out there listening, on the members of the United States Senate, and Lord have mercy even on Dr. Fauci.
Oof.
Because I'm telling you what, it says in the Ten Commandments, which are reiterated multiple times in the Pentateuch,
right?
Thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not murder.
Well, yeah.
And short of actually, stringing somebody up.
Yep.
Or, shooting somebody in the back of the head, or a crime of passion. You catch your wife in bed with another man and you just
pay him $100. Oh yeah. You shoot him.
you pay him $100. Same thing. Pretty much the same thing. Pretty much the same thing. But short of actually murdering somebody,
yeah,
you can still violate that commandment in spirit.
Yes.
Because I believe Jesus talks about if you're angry with your brother, you have essentially committed murder in your heart.
Okay. And
right now, I think there are a lot of people committing murder in their heart watching this Dr. Fauci thing today.
Pretty sure you're right there, buddy.
So seriously, Lord have mercy on us. Because this is bringing back all sorts of memories. I mean, some of them, shame on my part, that I was scared and went along with this. I was more just sad in general. I realized pretty quickly, my life is already quarantine compliant. I was already doing, nothing really changed for me. Which is a heck of a realization.
You're ready for the next one.
Yeah, I'm still that way in many ways. Better not take my church away, but other than that,
they won't take your church away this time.
Yeah, and wanting to, I brought up yesterday, I was in the initial part of the phase, well, let's listen to the experts. Because who are you going to listen to? Bobby?
Yeah.
Who's at the bar?
Bobby,
Joe
Rogan was right.
Bobby was right. Joe Rogan was right.
Right.
A lot of you folks up there in Elmore and Otaga and in the rural parts, y'all are right.
Yep.
In many ways. Now, how right are you?
Back it up. What do you mean in many ways?
Because there's some people that got a little over the top in the opposite direction.
But they were still right?
Joey, I'm telling you, the Pope is not the Pope. The Pope's been kidnapped. There's an imposter Pope in there.
Well, everybody knows that.
Wait, are you a pre-Vatican II guy, or do you really think the Pope's been switched?
Everybody knows that, Joey.
No, there's just stuff every day where it was huh?
Well, it was crazy because
people's brains were broken.
Yeah, we found out we were we fell victim to a scam, basically. Yeah. And then, but during that time, we were so just gun shy, we were victim to every scam out there that come. Oh, that could happen too. Ooh, that could happen too. Ooh, that could happen too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Not good thinking.
And of course, in the intervening years, we've learned a lot of the truth. We play this frustrating game, though, where a lot of folks won't hear it out.
Oh, sure.
Some family members still way too long getting the boosters. I'm what are you doing? I'm not mad at you. I'm literally worried.
Yeah, I got friends like that.
What are you doing?
Get it.
Yeah, it's your choice.
Yeah.
But what are you doing?
Getting tan.
Yeah. But in particular, my biggest takeaway is this is not just an episode of, yes, all sorts of people died. I think this is a perfect example of what government has become since, let's say, James Burnham talked about the managerial revolution.
Yeah.
So since FDR and them took over in the 30s.
You're exactly right.
To where, and what was Burnham's idea? And it's even more developed in his book, The Machiavellians. James Burnham was the co-founder, early writer for National Review, Bill Buckley. And he used to be a Trotskyite.
Mm-hmm.
So he used to be a commie. And stopped being a commie because, like, commies are crazy, man. I was crazy. But he was very insightful on how technology changed underlying governing structures. That this idea that we have the Constitution and we're a democratic republic. It's like we've been through many different, say, regimes, and we still call ourselves a constitutional republic.
Yeah.
But the regime after the Civil War is very different than the regime before.
Well, I think we come back to that.
The regime after Woodrow Wilson is very different than the regime before, and the early progressives. The regime after FDR is very, very different. And sometimes that's driven by purely political things or something like, God forbid, a war where hundreds of thousands of people die.
Right.
But sometimes it's just a technological shift along with a war, like you saw in World War II. And so the basic idea is this. Imagine like a town hall where it's like the most little d democratic Republican, like little r, like just, this is self-government at work, like a small town. You see each other at church on
Rockford,
Sunday.
Alabama.
Yeah. But everybody knows one another. You're all at the city council meeting and all this stuff like that. Like that's the most local democratic you can get. There's still somebody that's got to set the agenda, right? What's on the docket? Still somebody got to run the time.
That's very true.
Somebody that runs the meeting.
Well,
And what happens even in that
meeting.
very equalized setting, that person that has even these administrative roles that are pretty boring has more power than everybody else in the meeting. Now, this is why you do it locally, because it's really just kind of a putting an official face of what everybody would have done anyway. But still, that's the example of like, even in the best setting, there's going to be folks that unofficially end up accruing a little bit more power because of their positions of responsibility.
Okay.
And beyond just what their official responsibility
Right.
is. So now imagine an entire multi-trillion-dollar bureaucracy that has essentially been on autopilot and getting bigger and bigger and more technologically advanced since the 1930s.
Yeah.
And a big part of that multi-trillion-dollar bureaucracy is the public health institutions. And what you come to find is, we elect senators and we elect congressmen and we elect presidents and they appoint judges and all this stuff. But the people that really run the government are the timekeepers, are the administrators, are the bureaucrats. And even when Congress wants their power back, even when presidents want their power back, they don't get it.
They don't get it. We've learned that a couple of times.
And in a way, you can understand this. It's like, I'm serious. You don't want just Bobby or Joe Rogan running your public health policy, because you would ideally like a robust system that's ready to go and protect people when you truly have, epidemics.
Yeah, but when I see the little man behind the curtain, literally,
Right.
I have no more faith in that system
Right.
than I do Bobby.
And this is a big part of the legacy
Yeah.
of Tony Fauci. But beyond a lesson in government, that it really was like, nobody voted for this. President Obama even banned this gain-of-function research. It still went on anyway.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody watching the watchers. And we always say deep state is like the CIA. Well, in a way, the CIA and all the intelligence agencies are being oddly truthful in how untruthful they are. Like, they tell you up front, we're lying.
We have to lie.
Right. They're at least saying, like, this is kind of like what we do.
We're just not
We
telling
lie,
you.
we cheat, we steal, we kill. But when you have somebody that's public facing, it's like, well, we're trying to keep you safe. Put 3 masks on you. In fact, if I could, I'd do a mask event horizon, like we're going into a black hole. But beyond like the lessons in government and how government actually works, despite all the constitutions and things we say, or our traditions, is the emotional lesson I think a lot of people learned. And I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about today as I'm about to play Rand Paul's opening statement.
Yeah.
Fauci's reaction. Rand Paul had to kick out a lawyer from this hearing.
This morning, right?
This guy wouldn't shut up. And Rand Paul's like, you haven't been recognized. You weren't invited to testify. Shut up or I'm going to have you removed. And he wouldn't shut up. Okay. Security, take him out. And the whole crowd there stood up and applauded.
That's what they wanted, though.
Yeah.
Fauci and his people, that's what they want.
And that was essentially Fauci's statement. Senator Paul is obsessed with convicting me and throwing me in prison. I've been forthright and blah, blah, blah.
Then why'd I get a pardon?
Mm-mm.
Why'd I ask for a pardon?
And before we play any of this, one of the legal dynamics here that Rand Paul pushes on, Josh Hawley pushes on very forcefully, is you've got a pardon, a blanket presidential pardon for over a decade.
Yeah.
If we ask you about stuff in that decade that you were pardoned
You have to
for,
answer.
you do not get to invoke your Fifth
Right.
Amendment privileges and rights.
Right.
That privilege of against self-incrimination has been waived because you have a pardon.
Yep.
You have immunity.
But
you
no one-
must speak.
No one's told him that? One's
No,
reminded him
Rand
of
Paul
that?
says this to him straight up. Josh Hawley says this to him straight up. Like, and they said, Rand Paul's like, one last time, man. Like, if not, we're going to move with contempt. And that is up to a year in prison. Now, I think Fauci and his team are like, well, we'll have that fight.
Mm.
We're untouchable. All right. And that's the thing that's got me literally saying, Lord, have mercy on us. Let me not commit murder of the heart these days. Because it's like this flash of anger and embarrassment and shame and helplessness. Like, especially you were on a lot of this stuff early. What could you do about it?
Nothing.
Like all these different, and not to mention death.
I begged my family and
There were
friends.
people that really died, a lot of
we
people that
lost
died.
a few that I knew, but I begged my family and friends not to take the jab, but everybody's their own.
Yeah.
What really ticks me off is how the corporations, several of my friends lost their jobs because they wouldn't take the jab. At the end of the day, they wouldn't take the jab.
Yeah.
People lost their retirement. People were kicked out of the military. Now, I'm all about getting Fauci, but how about trying to make some of this right?
And, it's not just facing death or losing employment and stuff. It's people were then isolated
They lost their whole careers.
but then continually isolated in the midst of all that, to where it's tough enough when grandpa dies, but you can't. In our case, we didn't have a family
right.
visitation, a family memorial for him, but it was a year later.
And just the blanket rule of because we said so. I don't agree with that. I never have, and it's just in my blood. When somebody tells me no, I got to have legit
People
reason.
have been posting all over X like these horrible signs of like, you're not allowed in the hospital. So nurses have drawn up something on a board and put it on the window. He's passed.
Yep.
That's the way you find out. Not to mention, yes, all the strange experiments in the fallenness of our human nature of you give people a little power and man, they will run with it.
Joey's having Bible study of his house. They're not wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
That right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, for instance, East Germany, the Stasi. People like to think it was the Stasi wish they had the technology, surveillance technology that we have now, or what the Chinese have right now, for instance. But the way, how did they control people? It was more like you got people not to trust one another. And North Korea does this to this day, where you're constantly being forced to confess about something somebody else personally did.
Yep.
And even if they didn't do anything, you better say something.
You better have.
So nobody can trust anybody. Everybody's ratting on everybody else.
I didn't think I would see that here over that.
But fear is a powerful motivator. And as I mentioned yesterday, citing
Fear and a vendetta, though.
citing Pope Benedict, is man does not live by bread alone. And this was a horrid episode of exactly a lesson in that.
Yeah.
That we thought, well, if we do this material response and this scientific thing and that, blah, 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 and then, all the different creative ways to entertain ourselves while we're isolated and we can't go to church and all. And you find that nothing can replace personal relationships of love.
Do you remember the videos that came out of China when all this first went down? And I forget what they called it, but someone would go out of their apartment window and open the window up, and you'd see apartment lights everywhere and people banging on pans, just to let the world know they're still alive.
Yeah. And
I thought, man, that'll never happen here.
And that's the thing. I've heard it said that perfect love drives out fear. And so if you drive out love in response to your fear, what else you got? And it explains, I know it's simple, but I think it explains the entire era.
Sure.
That perfect fear can drive out love.
But we were hyped up on the fear. I mean,
Yeah.
The whole thing, it was a big bait and switch.
Yeah.
It was just, it got everybody hyped up
Everything was shut down.
for nothing. And he admits several times he was just adding things to it to make people feel, more paranoid, so they would try to take care of themselves better. Yeah. So
Just
the fact that
completely
he's
make it
sitting there, that bothers me.
And that's the other thing. You look at his face.
I don't care. You read that diary that he's been putting out. Good Lord.
I don't see it as the face of a man who's happy.
Oh, no, by no means.
Like, and if there is one solace in the sense of justice here, is that God will have his justice. Now, I'm not God. So Tony's going to have to answer to him, not me or Rand Paul or anybody else.
Right.
But Tony Fauci, when I look at him, I don't know if he's ready to have that conversation.
Fly on the wall, Joey. I'd love to be a fly on the wall.
He looks like a man already in hell.
Enough for me.
So let's begin, well, where this committee began.
Okay.
With Rand Paul opening it up. Pretty great opening remarks. Just setting the table. Take it away, Senator Paul.
Americans died from COVID-19. Some estimate as many as 15 million people died worldwide from COVID-19. Publicly, Anthony Fauci promoted the theory that the virus arose naturally, while privately, he was well aware of a mountain of evidence suggesting the virus originated in the lab. The American people deserve answers. The American people deserve to know why dangerous research was funded by NIAID in a totalitarian country, in a lab that lacked acceptable safety standards. The decision to fund dangerous gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China, will likely go down in history as perhaps one of the worst public health decisions. Frankly, the American people deserve an apology. I hope today, Dr. Fauci, will come clean, admit it was a mistake to fund dangerous research in China, admit that the risk of this dangerous research exceeded any possible benefits, ask forgiveness, and pledge to help our government devise safeguards so a man-made epidemic never happens again. Instead of an apology, you have for years avoided responsibility. Regarding the lockdowns, you argue that you did not personally issue every lockdown order, close every school, or impose every mandate. But officials across the country invoked your authority to justify these decisions. And you presented your recommendations not as judgments open to debate, but as dictates of science itself. Your own words demonstrate that you understood the influence you exercised. On March 14th, 2020, you wrote that the task force recommendations were driven by me, yourself, Deb, and CDC. The next day you wrote that you had convinced Mayor Bill de Blasio to close the New York City schools, so you were involved. That same night, Governor Gavin Newsom's chief of staff told you that the governor had decided to close California schools, bars, and restaurants after watching you on television. Presidents, governors, mayors, school boards, corporations, and Congress all bear responsibility for the decisions they made. The COVID lockdown, however, could never have been inflicted without you aiding and abetting the crime. Children lost years of education. Small businesses built over a lifetime disappeared. Patients delayed cancer screenings and other medical care. Families were separated from dying relatives. Workers were ordered to accept a medical procedure or lose their jobs. Worship assembly, employment, education, and travel were restricted in the name of science. While you did not impose every restriction, you used your public authority to justify them. While you concluded publicly that COVID occurred naturally, your private record tells a different story. In early 2020, your hand-picked virologist warned that the virus appeared to have been manipulated in the lab. In a conference call concerning the origin of the virus, all but two of the participants believed deliberate insertion was possible. Your concern was not merely theoretical. That same week, you led an urgent effort to determine whether your own agency had funded the research related to these experiments that were now under suspicion. Hours later, your assistant reported that the Wuhan experiments had indeed been reviewed and approved by the NIH. Those were not the actions of officials who believed that a research-related origin was an absurd conspiracy theory. They were the actions of officials urgently trying to determine whether their agency funding was connected to the research under discussion, connected to the pandemic. You could not hide that your agency had funded the Wuhan research or your long history of defending gain-of-function research. The only alternative left was to argue that COVID-19 did not originate in the Wuhan lab. You were not a detached observer. You had an institutional interest in the public believing that federally funded research had nothing to do with the pandemic. It was a conflict of interest from the very beginning. The authors of the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 privately had serious doubts about a natural origin. Within days, though, they flipped, and they all wrote in proximal origin that the virus was almost certainly not a laboratory construct. That paper was then used by the government and the media and you to discredit Americans who were asking the same questions that you and the authors were asking yourselves privately. You even cited proximal origin from the White House podium. You held it out as evidence that the virus could not have been engineered, but you didn't disclose your role in the discussions that preceded the writing of the paper. You did not disclose the author's original concerns. You did not reveal that you had been part of the paper, that you had read and offered editorial comments on the paper before it was published, before you began using it as evidence that it couldn't have originated in the lab. You did not disclose that you had immediately investigated yourself whether NIAID funding might be connected to the research. You did not tell the American people the full story. Duly released private messages indicate that the doubts with the authors and others didn't disappear after the publication. So while this was being waived at the White House to show that it couldn't come from the lab, the authors were still privately continuing to assign a meaningful probability to a laboratory origin, one thing in public and another in private. Some of the same scientists discussed avoiding email and carefully managing communications that might eventually be obtained under the Freedom of Information Act. The pattern is straightforward. Privately, there was alarm, then an immediate inquiry to see if NIAID's possible exposure to funding, then a rapid public declaration of certainty, continued private doubt, and then years of resistance to disclosure. The question is why? The only logical answer is that your primary concern was avoiding culpability. Your primary concern was hiding the fact that you had approved the funding for this dangerous research. Your support of gain-of-function research is extensive and long-standing. In 2011, your agency funded Ron Fauci's laboratory when it mutated the avian flu until it could spread through the air between mammals. This was the tipping point. This is when others became worried. You funded this. You advocated for this. The federal government's own biosecurity board, though, recommended withholding the details of these experiments because of the danger the research posed. People were concerned that publishing it was publishing a roadmap to creating bioweapons around the world. But you sided with the gain-of-function scientist Fauci and argued that the benefits of publishing the research far outweighed the risks. You defended this avian flu transmissibility experiments as critical research. You wrote that even if a scientist became infected and triggered a pandemic, the benefits of the gain-of-function experiments outweighed the risk. In 2014, your agency, NIAID, began funding the Wuhan bat coronavirus work. In 2015, Ralph Barrick and the Chinese scientist Shi Zhengli published NIAID-supported research combining a bat coronavirus spike protein with a SARS backbone. The resulting virus could infect human airway cells. It's a novel virus that now can infect human cells. It gained transmissibility, it gained function. In 2018, the same group of scientists, EcoHealth, Barrick, Shi, and their collaborators submitted the diffuse proposal, which involved the insertion of a furin cleavage site into the coronavirus. DARPA rejected it as too dangerous. When COVID was sequenced, though, early on in January of 2020, within days, scientists discovered that, lo and behold, it had a novel furin cleavage site, just as had been proposed in the Diffuse project. This was either an extraordinary coincidence or a smoking gun, evidence that the Chinese had created COVID-19. It made the laboratory origin question more legitimate, and it made your categorical public denials indefensible. On May 11th, 2021, you told the Senate, the NIH has never, ever, and does not now fund gain-of-function research in Wuhan, in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. When I gave you the opportunity to correct the record, to reconsider the statement, you responded that you had never before lied to Congress. We were then told that only the government's narrowest regulation of definition counted here, that you could define gain of function in one way in which this wasn't gain of function, in which all of the common sense of the world would be thrown out, all of the idea that the mice were dying and the virus was more transmissible didn't matter because you had a technical definition that allowed you to fund it. But the real question is, was it dangerous? Was it a wise decision to fund this? And you haven't deviated from that. You've never admitted that it could have been a mistake funding this research in China. The American people weren't asking for a semantics debate over what is gain of function. They were asking, does common sense say this research was dangerous in Wuhan? They wanted to know whether their money-funded experiments in Wuhan that made bat coronaviruses better able to infect humans. The answer is yes. They wanted to know whether NIAID adequately supervised their work. The answer is no. When you defended this research, you described its benefits in the broadest terms. But when Congress demanded accountability, you hid behind the narrowest possible definition. You can't have it both ways. Your conduct concerning federal records raises further questions. It is a crime to destroy federal records. Yet our investigation reveals your assistant diligently reported that she deleted tons of emails. In 2024, you testified that you did not delete federal records. Who's telling the truth, you or your assistant? The committee has obtained repeated instructions from you telling federal officials to delete communications. On February 2nd, 2020, one day after Origin's call, you told Francis Collins, please delete this email after you read it. The committee asked for your voluntary cooperation to come today. Your appearance had to be compelled by subpoena. You're here today under duress. You're here today because of the court ordering it. President Biden issued you a sweeping pardon extending back to 2014, the same pardon he gave to his son Hunter. A pardon may protect a person from criminal prosecution. It doesn't rewrite history. It does not erase documents. It does not convert a misleading statement into a truthful one. And it does not prevent Congress from establishing what happened. There will be another pandemic. There will be another crisis. And there will again be officials who insist that uncertainty must be hidden for the public's own good. They will demand obedience. They will invoke science. I am the science, as though it were a commandment. They will argue that government officials cannot be questioned because questioning them would undermine public trust. They have it backwards. It is secrecy that destroys trust. Amen. It is arrogance that destroys trust. It is censorship that destroys trust. And it is the refusal to admit error that destroys trust. That loss of trust may be your most damaging legacy. Trust can't be ordered. It has to be earned. No scientist is above scrutiny. No government official is beyond accountability. And no public servant has the right to treat the suffering of millions of Americans as a footnote to his preferred version of history.
Opening statement there from Senator Rand Paul. And, you get flashbacks.
Yeah.
Just as he went through that. And by the way, folks, I was worried about people committing murder in their heart watching this and just seeing Fauci. We'll get to Fauci's little bit of his statement and a little bit of him pleading the fifth over and over again. Josh Hawley also really ripping into him. So the main emotion was anger. Yeah. And very easy to commit murder in your heart when you look at Tony Fauci. But we just figured out there is if I pull this back up on the stream, there's a woman sitting behind Rand Paul. And later on, when Rand kicks out a lawyer for Fauci, she's actually the one that tells him, do it.
Okay.
And it made me go, who's that? And apparently, like, I brought that up to Eddie, where I really was like, who's that? After I saw her, like, tell him to do it, I'm like, oh, she's the one in charge. Eddie started typing in who is sitting behind. And I think it's just
behind.
who is sitting. No, I'd put it in too.
Oh, yeah.
And just at who is sitting. And then the top search, one of the top searches on Google right now in real time is who is sitting behind Rand Paul.
Yep.
A few others are who's that woman sitting behind Rand? Like, there's even little stupid, like, daily news rags already saying who's the bombshell behind Rand Paul.
I saw videos where they're in it, but then when I clicked this information, I never really could get a solid name. We'd come up with 3 different names that I don't think any of them are heard of.
So classic Washington, D.C. Not only are people committing murder in their heart, well, adultery's there too. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Tired of spending your weekends fighting weeds, patchy grass, and a mower that never starts? Mosley Lawn Pros is the solution. They handle residential and commercial lawn maintenance, landscaping, cleanups, and property care, so you don't have to. They show up on time, do the job right, and leave your lawn looking sharp every time. Stop stressing over your yard and start loving it. When it comes to your lawn, call the crew your neighbors and local businesses trust. One call, one crew, problem solved. Mosley Lawn Pros, built on hard work, driven by quality. Find them today on Facebook or Google.
This is your roving reporter, and today I'm talking with a political activist.
That's right, man.
And could you please explain to us your red cap with the letters MMRGA?
Yeah, man, this is my MARGA hat.
Marga?
Yeah, man, that stands for Make My Retirement Great Again.
I see.
And to do that, what you need to do is call David Ernest.
The asset preservationist.
That's right, man. You can call David at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
And I understand that's a toll-free number.
Yeah, man. Get David Ernest on the case, and your retirement will be great again.
And you make these hats.
I do. Here's a whole pile left from the last administration.
And they say CPWABD.
Yeah, man. Corn Pop was a bad dude.
And as you said, there's a whole pile here.
Well, there wasn't much demand.
I can dig it.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Victoryland.
Giveaways galore all summer long. Diamond Days Diamond Jewelry Giveaway and TV Tuesdays TV Giveaway with $185,000 in free play at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. This is Rich Thomas. Intense summer heat continues today with the heat index 105 to 110. Actual high temperatures in the upper 90s. The rain chances relatively small today and actually through Friday. Widely scattered to isolated storms, perhaps. Lows at night in the upper 70s. Late week high temperatures slightly better at 94 on Thursday and Friday. Low 90s over the weekend. And the rain probability is much higher by Saturday and Sunday as a front approaches. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Listening to Joey Clark. Joey Clark.
Joey Clark.
Joey Clark. You're listening to Joey Clark.
And welcome back. I'm your host, Joey. Eddie Bader here in the studio with me. And,
Hey, Joey.
Here, real quick, this was the ranking member, Senator Peters. And most of the Democrats, by the way, are defending Fauci.
I heard.
Unfortunately, I fear the intent of this hearing is only meant to further a purely partisan agenda and will not make Americans safer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The accusation that the committee has denied access to the minority to records is categorically false. This is the most transparent investigation in the history of Congress. We actually created a website and we put all of the information on the website. It continues to operate. The reason it hasn't been accessed is no Democrat ever signed up for it. Not one Democrat. We told them the access. They never asked for the access code. They haven't been on the website because they have not cared about the investigation.
Yeah, because it indicts more than just Fauci and more than just like elected members, Congress. By the way, the one Democrat that spoke up at this hearing was, why don't you guess?
I'm thinking Frankenstein. A good
John
deal. 'Cause
Fetterman.
I was really hoping that was going to be him.
Frankenstein.
That's all I can see. The
Not
guy.
a very nice guy.
And he's got Katie Britt being a little kid. He's dragging around. You know.
Yeah, don't light a match in front of him, Katie.
He's right.
Whoa!
That's all. I mean, sorry, that's all I can see.
I'm sure John Fetterman's a great guy.
I'm sure he is. If you remember in high school yearbooks and things, it'd be like,
Yeah.
most likely to succeed and all that crap. Well, he's the guy that's most turned it around by far.
What do you think he was in his yearbook?
I think he was a rich kid's, little turd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A rich kid's little turd.
Yep.
Well, here is Tony Fauci. He for the rest of the hearing after this, he just said, I plead the Fifth Amendment and blah, 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 on the advice of counsel
Everything.
and blah, 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 blah. But here,
Over 200 times over those 38 years. During and after the COVID pandemic, I have appeared multiple times for hearings in the Senate and the House, usually under oath, and sat for several days-long transcribed sworn interviews, answering questions about the very issues that are now the subject of this hearing. However, given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion.
so just turn around and accuse the accuser. By the way, I caught earlier today, Candace Owens.
Oh, yeah. How's Candace?
Well, I didn't see it, but somebody told me, a good source told me, maybe just my gut,
okay.
that Candace is saying Fauci's innocent.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm just making that up, but
So
you know,
you feel like
I feel like he's gone to the Candace Owens school
okay.
of defense, and
Well-
I wouldn't be surprised for Candace Owens to take that angle
Why not pick it up?
to keep the
More money.
keep
Keep
the
the
thing
grip
going.
going. Yeah. That's what it is.
The
Dude.
wine moms and Xanax o'clock babes.
That's what it is.
Sometimes the Prozac just doesn't cut it.
That got it hard enough, man.
You need your crazy aunt. No, I was on April Marie's hosting for Jeff Poor,
Yeah.
and she asked me about Candace. That's why it's on my mind. And I said, she's been a mess for a long time. And from the earliest days when I was catching her latest version of her,
Yeah.
I'm like, she's the type of ex-girlfriend crazy, like that will slash your tires. And I don't mean like go and put knives in your tires and like let the air out of them. I mean, she's going to print out pictures of the guitarist slash and tape them to your tires and then laugh in a maniacal manner.
Is that not funny? Sorry, but is that not funny?
And that's exactly going to be the excuse. Isn't that funny? Yeah, it's so funny.
Could be worse.
Please don't kill me.
Could be a bunny in that pot.
Please tell your demon to go away. I don't want to play anymore. So there are a bunch of lawyers, and all these lawyers are were trying to speak up, as Fauci was
Yeah.
saying, no, I'm just going to plead the Fifth. And so the lawyers tried to then speak on behalf of Fauci, and Rand Paul's like, you're not recognized. You weren't invited. You're not the one under subpoena.
loved
Shut
it.
up.
I love that.
And so here at a certain point, he warned them multiple times. Like, if you keep interrupting, I'm going to throw you out. I would, if there was a courtroom, I'd throw you in prison if I was a judge. But I can tell you, have you removed from the premises. Well, this is the moment, too, where I think a lot of folks are like, who's that woman behind Rand Paul?
The row behind you, sir, that's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered. For a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
I don't know who she is, but I like her. Good job, boss.
Yeah, I think that was the moment where everybody's like, "Who's that?"
Who's that chick? She's toting
He's
power.
the one who like.
Yeah.
Okay, this is enough. Enough.
All right, I like a bossy chick too. Boss babe, man.
You ain't the only one.
Yeah.
So here is now Senator Hawley going off. And you think this guy wants to run for president?
Yes.
Just a bit. Now he might very well have the chops. I mean, this sort of stuff is just theater, but it's really good theater if you are into
pretty good.
political
I got to
theater.
be honest. It's pretty good theater.
So here is Senator Hawley. Well, going toe to toe with Tony Fauci.
Mr. Chairman, well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. Mm-hmm. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally, cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You remember Greg Folkers? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your chief of staff is the answer. Do you remember Patricia Conrad? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant. And what were these individuals doing in the depth of the pandemic in November of 2020 when millions of Americans were suffering from COVID? What were they doing? I tell you what they're doing. Folkers was on your behalf soliciting and gathering information for a cash award. Let's look at it. We've got his email right here, right over my shoulder. Folkers says, I'm working on this nomination for the Dan David Award for Fauci. We need to beef up the COVID part. Do you have language in the can that you could share that delineates how we responded in new ways to COVID? He sends this to multiple federal employees. What was the Dan David Award? Do you remember, Doc?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
It was a $900,000 cash award. $900,000 cash award. And he got it because he used federal employees to get it. And this wasn't the only award, was it, Dr. Fauci? In fact, you applied for and received at least 8 other federal cash prizes on federal time using federal employees and federal resources. Here they are over my shoulder. Besides the Dan David Award, you've got the Partnership for Public Service, you've got the Adelson Prize, you've got the Smithsonian Award, you've got the National Academy of Medicine's Award, you've got the CDC Foundation. In fact, you turned your staff into a full-time application machine. You actually wrote to people and said, do you think maybe I'd qualify? And you got cash for all of this. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 employees, was it? In fact, you used 8 separate federal employees on federal time using federal resources to solicit cash awards. Isn't that true?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Here they are right over my shoulder. Here's all of them. The people that you use, federal employees, so that you could go and get cash money. And the most hilarious part is that you weren't content to even dragoon them into applying for all of these cash awards. You then had them go out to the ethics agencies and ethics watchdogs and demand that you be able to get the money. That's right. We've got it in your emails. Your staff and employees on federal time, using federal resources, being paid with federal dollars, are soliciting cash for you. And then they're turning around and saying to the agency, we don't want just an answer. We want to get to yes, because Fauci wants the money. He wants it. We want to get to yes, and yes takes time. This is your chief of staff again, using federal email to pressure the agency's own ethics people so that you could get money, so that you could get rich. And it violated the law, didn't it, Dr. Fauci? Didn't it? It violated the law, didn't it?
Is that a question?
It is a question. You can answer. Go ahead.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Federal law, as you very well know, prohibits the solicitation of cash awards or other personal benefits for federal employees. And it certainly prohibits using your own employees to do this. 5 CFR section 2635-205B, it says it right there in black and white. You cannot use federal resources, federal dollars, federal employees, federal offices, federal email, federal time to solicit cash awards. And you did all of it. And the worst part is thousands of people were dying while you were doing it. You were supposed to be the nation's doctor, and you're playing one on TV. But this is what you were doing with your time. Isn't that true?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, I can see why. I can certainly see why. You know what I can't quite figure out is that why you were so obsessed with it, because you're already rich. I mean, and your scheme worked here. I mean, your net worth now is north of $12 million. You got over $1 million in cash awards during COVID, during a 12-month, 24-month span during COVID. $1 million you knocked down in cash money using federal resources. Now you're worth more than $12 million. You've got a pension that in its first year paid out north of $400,000 a year. 1 million people dead, you're getting rich. 1 million people dead, you're using federal employees to get cash awards for you. 1 million people dead, and you're here taking the fifth because you don't want to admit that what really happened in all that time was a multi-month, multi-year course of self-dealing. Isn't that true, Dr. Fauci?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, well, silence is admission. And here's the real thing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about the money, really, was it? It was really about a power trip. I mean, through all of this, you want to be the most famous scientist in the world. You were so focused on getting every award and every drop of cash that you could, all because you wanted to be on TV. You wanted to be the sun god of science. You wanted to be the guy who was in charge of it all. You wanted to lambast Trump. You wanted to make sure that nobody else stole your spotlight. You wanted to be the guy. You had time to sit for InStyle magazine. Here's what you were doing with your time. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for InStyle magazine and get $1 million in cash awards, but now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does. I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way. You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary.
Damn. Mm-hmm. Don't get on the wrong side of Josh Hawley.
No, he's right, man.
Yeah.
Very right. I don't understand the diary part unless I'm such a sicko.
Yes.
I just... I can't wrap my head around that.
Anyway, we got to hit this break.
All right.
First, this part of the program brought to you by Invista Advisors, and they're at Invista. Excuse me. There's been a change. Been a change. They're now Waverly Advisors.
Joey.
Yes, Invista Advisors has merged with Waverly Advisors, still an Alabama-based firm.
Yep.
That is providing, a boost, let's say. Invista was already doing great. And in fact, they were doing so great that Waverly wants to keep exactly their investment strategies and their financial planning strategies. First, managed there and created there by Brant McDonald. Of course, Austin Branco and the whole team following through on that. They have this whole team of folks as they look at investment strategies. And Waverly Advisors like, you know what? We want that desk available to our clients. And then now there is access when it comes to Austin Branco and the team with this huge new firm. Again, Alabama-based, Alabama values, and they can really help out your clients. So what do they do at the end of the day? If you're looking for investment advice or somebody to just manage your assets in general, or you're looking for financial planning, maybe you're just starting out a family, or could be you've got a lot of money tied up in a small business or a nonprofit, or you're more worried about buttoning up end-of-life concerns. You don't want to leave somebody widowed. I mean, it's tough enough when you die.
Right.
Leaving like a huge financial mess for them afterwards. Don't leave that to your family. So check out Waverly Advisors today. You can still call them at 387-0094. That's 387-0094. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Elon Musk has launched an invite-only kind of money. It's called X Money, with a Visa debit card, 6% yield, and real-time transfers. Meanwhile, they're stressing that this is not a new bank. It's just a different way for X users to share money between one another. Dr. Anthony Fauci today is invoking the Fifth Amendment and declining to answer questions from senators in a Republican-led committee hearing about his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. That move injects new drama into the lingering tensions between Fauci and Republican lawmakers. The Senate has confirmed Jay Clayton to become head of the nation's intelligence agencies. He was confirmed with a vote along party lines, 51-47. He led the Securities and Exchange Commission and has been a U.S. attorney for a year, but Democrats are decrying Clayton's lack of experience in the realm of intelligence and national security. This is SRN News.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline, 800-305-6762. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-305-6762 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. That's 800-305-6762 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-305-6762.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber, now open from 6 to 5. It's more than just great prices on lumber. From Trex decking to energy-efficient windows and Tamco shingles, Alabama Wholesale Lumber has it all.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. This is Rich Thomas. Intense summer heat continues today with the heat index 105 to 110. Actual high temperatures in the upper 90s. The rain chances relatively small today and actually through Friday. Widely scattered to isolated storms, perhaps Lows at night in the upper 70s. Late week high temperatures slightly better at 94 on Thursday and Friday. Low 90s over the weekend. And the rain probability is much higher by Saturday and Sunday as a front approaches. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Montgomery police have identified the victim in a deadly Monday afternoon shooting. Officers responded to the 4200 block of Amherst Drive just after 4 p.m., where 62-year-old Alan Griffin was found dead from a gunshot wound. Police have provided no further details regarding suspect or motive. Griffin is Montgomery's 31st confirmed homicide victim so far this year. A $10,000 reward is now being offered for information that helps solve a 2025 Montgomery murder. 21-year-old Christopher Washington and 2 other people were shot September 28th in the 2400 block of East South Boulevard. Washington later died from his injuries at a local hospital. His family is offering a $9,000 reward for information in addition to $1,000 from Crime Stoppers. Anyone with information regarding the murder of Christopher Washington is urged to contact authorities. A bill has been introduced in the United States House of Representatives to honor the Tuskegee Airmen with a memorial in Washington, D.C. The bill has the complete support of the entire Alabama U.S. House delegation. The Tuskegee Airmen were America's first black military pilots who trained in Alabama to fight in World War II. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
What are you getting? Still deciding, but I do know on August 11th, I'm choosing Rhett Marcus for Congress. Why Rhett Marcus? Because he's a true conservative, endorsed by President Trump and Senator Katie Britt. Oh, then you can trust him. And he's a small business owner, not a politician. Sounds like this choice on August 11th is the easiest decision we'll ever make.
Remember to vote on August 11th. I'm Rhett Marcus, the Trump-endorsed candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Rhett for Alabama.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 special. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
You want your floors to scream new, fresh, and stylish. But if yours are groaning, tired, old, and outdated, you're in luck. Because at Prattville Carpet, you can revitalize your floors while you save on the best brands available with perfect and professional installation and Prattville's unbeatable lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
Start shopping for your floors right now at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark. Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program, and I guess we're got more of the haranguing, not the hanging. Don't suggest that. As I said earlier, watching this, it makes you murderous. And getting a certain type of angry. Don't commit murder in your heart, folks. But we'll keep going with this because it is infuriating. And hopefully it'll be somewhat cathartic for people, but I don't know if it will be. I think a lot of Americans have learned that as much as we bitch and moan or raise hell or have somebody dead to rights, we have it in your own words. People get off scot-free. It's remarkable. And I don't know how much longer this nation's going to survive this sort of unaccountability. But there's a lot of ruin in a nation. It means it could take a long time for the wheels to truly fall off. We'll see. In a way, this is a bit of a corrective that's good to at least air out all this nonsense. But here, let's go to Soldier Boy. Hey, Soldier Boy, how you doing?
How you doing this afternoon?
Good.
I just finished a 6-pack of beer and 2 Jiffy Pops containers.
Nice. You've been watching this all morning?
I tell you, Joey, you've done a great job playing that, but I hate to say it. Watching it live on video, television, is great.
Oh, yeah.
But did you see Lori Ingram was sitting behind Fauci about 2 rows and out, and she's just making these faces. It's like, but you know, she's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing, I call him a little angry elf on the shelf. That's what he was, you know. And I loved his first 5-minute intro. It was all, play the victim card, da-da-da-da-da. But you took one of my little fire powers away. I loved when his lawyer, he told, how many times did Rand Paul gave him 10, 15 warnings?
Oh,
he
yeah.
opened his mouth one more time. And they're going. And I love when he was escorted out. He was like, he says, don't worry, Mr. Fauci. He says, you've still got 11 lawyers back there. I'm like, whoa, dude, you just cut everybody up. But you know who was really good about the whole thing too? I love it. Who was she was a former attorney general from the state of Florida.
Oh, she's new. I don't know her
She's
real
very
well.
new.
Yeah.
Well, I loved when she had her assistant hold up the what do you call it? The Joe Biden. They give him the what do you call it? The not the waiver, but
The pardon?
the pardon. They had like a 3-foot by 4-foot poster board of it. You know, she says, you know, the only person else that's got one of these two that you might happen to know his name. Oh, that happened to be Biden's son, and of course he went to the same question. But I love what she meant. She was one of the ones towards the very end, and what was interesting, she made a good point. Okay, did you notice that every Democrat that went on there, they pointed the finger at Trump? They couldn't say one sentence without Trump.
Right,
I mean, it was the Trump bashing. You know, it had nothing to do with Fauci whatsoever. It was just anti-MAGA, anti-Trump. But I love what she said. 2 good points that really I put. She says, I would say something to the Democrats on my committee if they were here now. They all left. As soon as they got done their little 5-minute poke at Mr. Trump and MAGA people, they left.
Of course. Well, and it shows it's a huge indictment of the Democrats in my mind and like what they did in terms of COVID.
But you mean be respectful and professional, and at least they heard you out. At least hear them out. You know, I mean, the other side, that's supposed to be a bipartisan, okay?
Yeah, the only guy who was fair was John Fetterman.
Oh, yeah. And he's more independent than he is Democrat, let me tell you that much. I mean, come on, you know, and I know that. But then I love it when she brought up, too, about the experiments he did on abortions. I almost cried.
Yeah. It's awful.
I mean, and the elf on a shelf, and he couldn't even show any emotions whatsoever.
Well, he looked like a man waiting to be hanged. He won't
and there were
be.
questions that he could have answered. They're very yes or no answers. You know, she says, So do you really respect Americans to have any more faith into the medical science and doctors in the United States? I plead the fifth. I mean, he destroyed a lot of doctors. I mean, a lot of people still even to this day will go to a doctor because of this incident. And like you made a good point, there are people out there still wearing masks and while they're driving.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And hopefully there's some catharsis in this. I mean, I hope you saw Senator Marino say to Fauci, who the F do you think you were for doing that? And I mean, said the word outright. It was on national live streams. And I mean, there's a lot of just righteous anger. In fact, this is what started people's political careers. Why they ran for office is what a lot of the COVID and Fauci stuff.
I need to go next door, 2 houses over in my subdivision, and collect my $100 from my Democratic friend, because I betted him that Fauci would plead the fifth on everything, and he sure did. That's easy money.
Well, you need to go collect.
I'm going to collect. I'm going to collect, because I love it. You need to watch it in the video. Watch Laura Ingram's face in the background. It's unbelievable, because I guess she used to work on the Supreme Court as well.
Oh, yeah, she clerked, yeah.
Yeah, for Clarence Johnson. Was it Clarence?
Maybe Clarence Thomas, maybe Scalia. I can't remember.
Both of them, I think, maybe. And she's a licensed attorney, and she just sat there and just shook her head and her jaw dropped every time he tried to plead the fifth. And you showed it, too, when you played that the audio of Josh Hawley. I mean, I tell you one thing. That female, that new lady from Florida, I guess she was a prior attorney general. She's new and young, I take it, right?
Ashley Moody is her name.
That's it. I think she showed me some kahunas today when she went after him. I love it when they throw up, and Josh Hawley did the same thing. I love it when they show the audio video, examples. Hold that up. Hold this up. Did that look familiar? I mean, and you got 11 lawyers back there. I gotta admit, I loved it when he told me, I told you there was an empty row back there. I told you not to come to the front table, like a little child being scolded.
Oh, yeah. And here I found some of the Ashley Moody testimony. Let's listen to this together real quick.
This time, public health officials genuinely need Americans to listen. Millions of people may simply ignore them or not believe them. And Dr. Fauci, you were undeniably the face of the federal government's COVID response. You said so yourself in your diary. You said it's not hyperbole to say, I've become the most famous and talked about person in the country. So I want to understand how we got here. Let's start at the beginning. On March 8th, 2020, you appeared on 60 Minutes to discuss the spread of COVID-19. You were specifically asked to clear up the confusion and misinformation surrounding masks. You told the American people, right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with a mask. The interviewer immediately stopped you and said, are you sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this. And instead of walking back or qualifying your statement in any way, you doubled down. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little better. It might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think it is. And often there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with their masks. They keep touching their face. Just a few weeks later, the CDC released its guidance recommending that Americans wear masks in public. You were asked to explain your original recommendation. You emphasized a very different consideration. You said, well, back then, the critical issue was to save the masks for the people who really needed them because it was felt there was a shortage of masks. So I want everybody to sit with that. The critical issue driving your initial recommendation to the American public was scarcity, logistics, not medical evidence. So when you told the American people there was no reason to wear a mask, what was your principal objective? Giving them an honest assessment of the medical evidence or discouraging them from consuming a scarce supply of masks?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the
Constitution of the United States. Oh, man.
But the worst one that she talks about is when she, you have that one part, you get a chance on it, when she talks about taking parts from aborted babies and putting them on rats. I mean, it got so descriptive on it, and I am definitely pro pro-life. Okay, being a Catholic that I am, but second of all, I found out after my mother and my father passed away that I was adopted. So it could have been my parents could have been easily the ones to abort me too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I would. But I tell you, I hope Mr. Fauci learns something. You don't ever be stupid enough to type your personal information on a federal computer. How dumb can you be? Gee.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Well, and they're going to move forward with a contempt call for contempt against Congress and try to actually lock him up with it. But we'll see if it
Well, you know, he
works out.
could have used his own laptop with all those millions of dollars, okay, and got on his Gmail account, and they would have never been able to go after his emails. But no, you're stupid enough to type it on your time, on the government's time, on a government computer, and you think that's not going to be pulled back. Because everything that's on the computer that you type leaves footprints, and that's where they got it. And he got mad. What kind of ego person is going to leave, a narcissist is going to leave and type a diary on a government computer? I think in deep depth, I think he wanted, kind of like, remember the movie A Few Good Men with Colonel Jessup?
Yeah.
He wanted so bad to say that he ordered that code red.
Yeah.
I think he was so mad, and he did it on that computer because I think he thought he was so safe with the pardon that go ahead.
No, and I think he has that Jessup mentality of I'm allowed because you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. I'm supposed to do whatever I need to do to get the job done.
Very similar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I watched again. It was a rerun yesterday. Again, I watched
Good
it the
movie.
15th, 20th time. But remember something, Joey? And the best thing about that movie was you don't have to have a patch on your sleeve to have honor.
Amen.
So I got to say.
Well, I appreciate the call, man. I got to run.
Later.
Let's go to T-Spear, who's also been very patient. Hey, T-Spear, how you doing?
Good morning. How am I doing? Well, listening to all of the evidence with Fauci, it's enough to cause you to have a sick stomach. And I have a pretty cast iron stomach. So, pretty bad. Regardless, several things. Number one, as Fauci wrote all of these proposals and went after all of this money under fraudulent means, can't that money be clawed back?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's worth it to look at and worth a try.
Let's claw it back. Number two, and on that, $400,000 a year retirement pension fund, really? No, that can go to pay his attorneys. Number three, all of his minions that wrote all of these papers, everyone who is underneath him, they weren't given a pardon.
Correct.
If I were Congress, I'd be pulling them in. I would be having their notes. I would be having their information. Their information is already there on the federal computers. It's not as though it's not available. I would be pulling all of these assistants and the lab managers, because I'm sure there are thousands of them, the lab managers and the lab workers. They knew what was going on. I would be pulling them in for their testimony, even if it came to the point of giving them immunity based on their prosecution to put Fauci in prison for the rest of his life, or to just have and I'm not an advocate for a public hanging, I'm really not. But this is the case where it needs to be public. Just put it right out up front and center. And then I would like to advocate for Josh Hawley to be the next Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and get rid of that coward John Roberts.
Here. Well, I appreciate it. I warned you, don't commit murder in your heart, but I kind of understand the public hanging thing. But right now, I think what we're most can hope for is, some of what you laid out, but also a contempt charge. And, well, we'll see what comes of it. I appreciate the call, T-Spear.
Thanks a lot. Keep up the good work.
And in fact, here is Rand Paul essentially saying, okay, you're going to plead the fifth so much. Here we go.
But he was subpoenaed here to testify, refused to answer any questions, even after being directed by the chair and being advised of the law requiring him to do so. He has cited a privilege that is unsupported because of his blanket pardon and because he waived the privilege by testifying at the start. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply with the law, limited to the period of your pardon. At any point between January 1st, 2014 and January 19th, 2025, did you destroy any federal record or tell anyone else to?
Under the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Given that you have a unlimited presidential pardon, what is your specific objection that you are making?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
My question was limited to the period of your pardon only. I find your objection unsupported and direct you to answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Because you refuse to answer, citing a privilege that is unsupported because of your pardon, and after being denied to do so, this committee has scheduled a vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt.
So we'll see what comes of it. Line 1, you're on there. Who's this?
Hey, it's Papa B.
Hey, Papa B, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, I remember during all this mask mayhem, kids having to wear masks on playgrounds.
Oh, yeah, man.
My kids had already graduated, but I had two nephews played football. They were having to wear masks while fully uniformed in the hot sun to do their scrimmages. And I think there were some that actually during the games they had to. Not that they could do it. I mean, the mask would obviously not be fitting after just a little bit if they weren't even up around the nose. It was just, one ridiculous thing after another. But here we are. This is what happened. And then you remember, if you grow up, how the education profession said, we didn't know. We're sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Can't we just move along?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer I have is no. We can't. No more moving along. We've had enough. I've had enough. I don't know about everybody else. But, I talked to Scott Beeson yesterday, or the day before, I can't remember what, about all of this, and they were saying, well, we just don't understand why this, why that. The election infection, the Wuhan flu, the Hong Kong flu, whatever you want to call it, it offered to all of the government officials, all the communists, everybody that loved control, it offered them a multi-layered cake of communistic control and coercion, the likes of which they had never seen in this country. And I mean, they relished in every minute of it, buddy. Boot on the neck doesn't even begin to describe what they did. So yeah, not just people having to be held accountable, but we can't go through this again. This is not something a free country can do. So having said all of that, yeah, I see. In fact, I had always heard that, well, if you get a pardon, you can't then plead the fifth. If you get a pardon, you've got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the pardon's no good. So I guess he's invalidated the pardon. I guess that's what he's done.
No, he hasn't invalidated the pardon. He's now set himself up for contempt of Congress because he was forced by a court subpoena to be there. He didn't want to be there. And Rand Paul also made the point that he testified to begin with. So, okay, you waive your privilege right there by actually doing your opening statement. And I'm only asking about the period that is covered by your pardon. And because you have that pardon, you have immunity for that time period, and yet you still refuse to answer this committee in our investigation, contempt of Congress.
Boom. There you go.
Which is up to a year in prison, I believe. And, and people think, oh, it's so crazy. I think that's exactly what they did to Steve Bannon.
Well, Steve Bannon and there was
Navarro.
one other guy.
Peter Navarro.
Right, Navarro, right. Yeah, that's right. Well, he was in for more than a year, though, wasn't he? I thought.
Something like that, yeah.
It doesn't matter, but a year is all, really? For turning the world upside down with craziness? Just a year? Is that all?
Well,
they
not
did?
telling the truth after a president pardons you for it. You get a year.
1 year.
Yeah, if we ever even get to that point.
Well, I think we might. You know, I mean,
Maybe,
I think that I think there are enough Democrats that would say have enough pressure on them to either not vote or vote for, so that it could, happen as a contempt of Congress kind of thing. Well, I guess we're going to get a contempt of Congress, right?
Yeah, and I've got a clip here. Rand Paul gave a press conference when they took a break that's going to kind of lay out what are the next steps.
Okay.
But what a mess. And it is a bit of it brings back that time, which I admit, I wanted to move on, in the sense of, we're now, 6 years removed from it.
Yeah.
And, you want to live life and just forget, especially when it brings up all sorts of a mix of emotions, not just the politics of it. But when you were the public face of this and you've now been caught just straight up, not only lying about it, but essentially, mentally masturbating over your fame and fortune while people are dying around you. It's just gross.
Man. Yeah, and Soldier Boy, you asked if he would learn a lesson. No. This kind of personality type does not learn lessons.
No, I think he still believes 100% he's in the right.
100%. Always will, no matter what.
I heard an interesting meditation. I can't remember the theologian's name, but he was on with Matt Fradd this week. And they're talking all exclusively about hell and what is hell like? And it's a 2-hour, 3-hour podcast. So they go many different angles deep on what hell is. But in many ways, hell is that person who regrets being caught. So they constantly have to relive what they did and being caught and exposed for what they did, yet they remain unrepentant. And so just relive over and over and over for perhaps all eternity, that same thing. And that's what struck me. The look on Fauci's face is he is mad that he got caught, in particular, this diary's out there.
Not only that, but he's mad that anybody's pointing it out.
Yep.
You're right. So, yeah, hell is something that we make ourselves. It's not something that, it is hell's a real place. It's some place that I really don't want to even think about going.
Yeah.
It's some place that I've heard that you don't even want your worst enemy going. But I also think it's, something that is of our own making.
It is.
Anyway. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. 272-9228. Let's go to line 2. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey. Papa John.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. This, as important as Fauci's testimony could be, I think the one thing that is really has not come to the attention yet is he set up the entire public to make himself out to be the voice of reason, and then advocated for a virus treatment that was not viable. I know, of course, I'm the greatest skeptic in the world. As soon as this thing came out, and they were talking about having a vaccination for it, I went to the CDC site and I just asked, and you could do this. I put a question in about what was the development time from beginning until public release for any kind of a treatment like this. And the CDC very standardly said it's 12 years minimum.
Yep.
So when they came out with the shot in less than a year, I knew immediately I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I know personally, I've had friends or acquaintances that I saw damaged by this piece of junk that they put out that's supposed to be a treatment for COVID. In one case, I had a friend and his wife who were grandparents. They were told by their children if they did not receive the shot that they would not be able to see their grandchildren. As a result, they both took the shot, and subsequently a healthy woman of about 68 years old died of a heart problem in her sleep.
Yep.
And she's not the only one. And that's why I say this whole thing with Fauci, the way he set it up, where he became the master of trust and began to tell everybody what to do about it, except for those that had some kind of information. There was a lot of damage done to it. Even a lot of people of youthful age, not older people like me. I know there was a preacher in Hawaii named J.D. Farag, and I had watched him for end time prophecy sermons. And when all this came up, he was one of the first I heard say anything about be careful about how you react to this entire problem, because you can go overboard real quickly without having proper guidance. They eventually ended up putting out a letter that gave you the right not to take the shot over religious grounds if you were ordered to by your employer. But this whole thing, and I want everybody to understand this testimony in front of Congress is important. But what's even more important is the ground that it laid for the public's reception to a shot that's supposed to cure this thing or keep it handleable later on. And that was the biggest damage done, was the measure of trust that was put into them right now. And as a result, right now, you've got almost no public trust in the government by a lot of people.
Well,
and that's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It is really sad. It's tragic. And, my nose has been in the Bible so much, and no apologies for that, and in a lot of prayer. And I just finished the Pentateuch, the first 5 books. And in particular, you got simple lessons come out of reading those very old stories that are true, inspired scripture, sacred scripture. And one simple lesson is why was the entire generation kept out of the promised land? And it's because after they send spies into the promised land, and most of the spies, I believe, other than Joshua and Caleb, are fearful for their lives. So it's the fear of death, the fear of hardship, the fear of trials, that, okay, an entire generation is lost in the wilderness. And, you can apply that directly to the Israelites, but just think about how lost in the wilderness this generation is for fear of death.
One other point, Joe, then I'll let you go. I know there is references in Revelation that says that part of this entire plan, this satanic plan, is to use deception against the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And right now that stage has been set. And I just, of course, I know how it ends up, so I'm not worried about it. But
right.
It really terrifies me that there's going to be an entire world that's going to be set on that stage to be deceived by Satan, and the satanic deception is going to lead them to do things they should not do. And so it's totally sad.
Well, we can pray for them, and
talk to you later.
Appreciate you, Papa John. Yeah, well, we pray for those folks. They will see the light. Now, here, to Papa John's point, is Ron Johnson taking Fauci to task over the VAERS system, the adverse reactions to the vaccine.
I was going to ask you, were you carefully monitoring the safety surveillance systems like VAERS and VSafe that literally were deluged with complaints? Currently, worldwide, there have been almost 1.7 million adverse events reported to the Veyer system. Of those, over 39,000 were deaths. And of those deaths, 24% occur on the day of vaccination within 1 or 2 days. 24%, which, by the way, just happens to be the same percentage that a Rasmussen poll pointed out the American public believe 24% of the American public believe they know somebody who died of the experimental gene therapy. So again, I was certainly interested in asking you whether or not you were following this as carefully as I was. It's not my responsibility to follow safety surveillance systems, but I did. And by the way, when I published, this is actual government information. When I published it and people had me on their shows, they would be censored by Facebook. They would be deplatformed. I think largely at the behest of the actions you took to make sure that disinformation wasn't spread. This wasn't disinformation. This was the truth.
We got to hit a break. First, this part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you with, well, buying a home. Especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you got to work with Alabama Home Mortgage because they can actually walk you through the process. And, you know, they're folks you can actually trust. Been helping out a lot of folks here in the River region and beyond for a long, long time. Make sure, well, they get the right treatment when it comes to buying a home. And it all starts with pre-approval. Don't want to skip that step. Go from pre-approval to inspections and appraisals and every step in between. They will walk with you from pre-approval all the way to closing day. And of course, they can also help you with a great refinance deal if you want to reconsolidate or restructure debt, especially credit card debt that's hanging over your head. Perhaps you're looking for a little bit of help in reinvesting into the property or the family or shoring up a retirement fund. All sorts of reasons, and even fun ones like a big family vacation. All sorts of reasons for a refinance deal. And of course, Alabama Home Mortgage can help you there. So check them out today. You can always just call them direct at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Just to start the conversation. You don't have to buy a house the day after you talk to them. Just get informed. Get to know them there at 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Here are several ways to attract more buyers to your home. First, price it right to sell, not to sit. An accurate market analysis will tell you what price it should be. Next, prepare the home to show and sell by deep cleaning by a professional cleaner, including carpet. Declutter all rooms, including closets. Evaluate flooring, replace if needed. Paint inside and out where needed, and make the kitchen and bath sparkle. How about the exterior? Are the colors faded on the shutters or fascia? Power washing them and all sidewalks and driveways and patios prior to listing the house. Remember, your price and curb appeal will create a showing appointment. Your condition of the house will make them stay and look longer and buy quicker. For all the steps you need to take to get your house ready for sale, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group, 334-221-2883 or 334-551-0225.
Hi, I'm Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop Wellness Center at 8161 Vaughan Road. You know, with over 30 years experience in natural wellness, I've seen countless health fads come and go. A few years ago, we added a patented technology that actually activates your stem cells. It reverses the aging process at the cellular level. However, you do need proper hydration and targeted nutrition. At the Herb Shop, our advanced scanning and testing technology allows us to accurately assess your nutritional needs and get a customized plan for you. Come in today and see what the Herb Shop can do for you.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a man from outer space.
What's up, Earthling?
I see you've landed your spacecraft over there in that field.
That's right, man.
My question is, why have you landed here on our planet?
I came to see David Ernest.
The asset preservationist?
Yeah, man. I wanted to see if he would take a look at my portfolio for me.
Well, before you make the trip over there, call him on his toll-free number, 833-596-723. 633. And I understand those last 4 digits spell out the word safe. That is correct. Funny thing happened the last time I came to Earth. What was that? I went to the Walmart, man. Yes. And I accidentally went in the back door. How did that work out? Well, they stopped me and very gently told me that I needed to go around front and come in. And then what did you do? I said, cool, man. Take me to your greeter. You flew millions of miles just for that. Hey, man, I don't write them. I just read them.
Trust is the number one reason why a patient chooses a healthcare provider. Adams Drugs has been your trusted healthcare provider since 1962 and has been voted the number one pharmacy in the River region for many years. We strive each and every day to provide you the level of healthcare you have come to expect from Adams Drugs. The employees at Adams Drugs take pride in developing relationships with their patients, from making sure your prescriptions are filled correctly to getting to know you and your family's needs and following up on any questions you may have. Adams Drugs employees deliver top-notch service. We ask you to visit us at any of our locations in Montgomery, Prattville, Wetumpka, Millbrook, and Pine Level Marbury and give us a chance to earn your business. You can find us at adamsdrugs.net for the location that is nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Well, hi, everybody. This is Rich Thomas. Intense summer heat continues today with the heat index 105 to 110. Actual high temperatures in the upper 90s. The rain chances relatively small today and actually through Friday. Widely scattered to isolated storms, perhaps. Lows at night in the upper 70s. Late week high temperatures slightly better at 94 on Thursday and Friday. Low 90s over the weekend. And the rain probability is much higher by Saturday and Sunday as a front approaches. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
When the heat hits to the river region, don't wait. If your AC quits, Hands Heating and Air offers same-day service, or your diagnostic charge is free with their Comfort a Day or You Don't Pay guarantee, plus 24/7 service with no overtime charges.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACB.
You're listening to Joey Clark. Joey Clark. Joey Clark. Joey Clark. You're listening to Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to James. Hey, James, how you doing?
Joey, that's interesting. That's not buffer music. What would you call that?
I would call that a jingle.
Okay. Did you produce that yourself?
With the AI, yeah.
Oh, all right. 2 things. The fear of man is a snare, but blessed is he who trusts in the Lord.
Amen.
Joey, one of the issues I heard one of your callers mention earlier is concerned about this similar thing being perpetrated on us again. In other words, our failure to learn from history and henceforth history being repeated. Of course, you and I have read Ecclesiastes, and so we know what's said there. But I would offer 2 sets of alphabets, AI, CBDC, and then data centers. And I know some people see those things as simple tools, but I don't perceive them as being simple or tools either.
Yeah, definitely the central bank digital currency. I mean, there's a long tradition in central banking that it is explicitly a political tool. It's more an Eastern thing, like a very Asian thing, like the Chinese and the Mongols. And the Chinese government still to this day explicitly says money is a political tool and a matter of political authority. It is not anything really to do with a private property right. whereas we do have a private property tradition and money, not as much as we once did, but in the West, we have that tradition. And so a central bank digital currency would be, they already have enough control over the money with the fiat system. That would be insane. Absolutely insane. Data centers is like, well, what's the data center being used for? And on AI, there's so many different types of AI. If you're talking about this hope of the transhumanist, of this like, super intelligence, the singularity, and we're going to essentially create a digital god. Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty bad deal right there.
Joey, I couldn't have said it as succinctly and clearly myself.
Now, have you heard of any of this Pope Leo the 14th came out with a papal encyclical called, I think, Magnificent Humanity in English. And his basic, really the whole thing's actually more a like Catholic social teaching document. They could have been a lot shorter if it was just about AI. But I think he draws a good parallel. He says, with AI, we are either going to build Babel, a Tower of Babel, to where just a few are, create this conformity of everyone to their own benefit and exploit everybody. And yes, try to, out of pride, supplant God. Or we could be like Nehemiah and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And so there are a lot of AIs, just a shorthand for all these digital tools and technologies. And they could be used to actually, go to each section of the community and say, what do we need? How can we actually lift people up? But if it's just going to be for, the latest tech bro to try to live for all eternity, I think we're opening a portal to hell.
Somewhere there in Paul's epistles, we have some portion of God's word that tells us that we're not at war with flesh. We continue to fight that war on a daily basis. And this is just the next level of warfare, is it not?
Yeah, I think that battle has been going on since the beginning of time, and it will go on no matter what we do in that regard. Now, it does matter what we do in terms of how much we give into it against the principalities and powers and rulers of darkness in this world. Essentially all the high places and all the fallen choirs of angels that hate humanity.
So what
they
you're
really do
telling
hate
me is
humanity.
We're back to our conversation yesterday as to which side of the fence we're on.
Oh, yeah. No, be with God, folks. But it's always good to remind yourself every morning to be there because it's interesting how the evil one sneaks in.
Joey, have a nice day, brother.
Appreciate you, James. God bless. 272-9228. It's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And they're at Pest Pro. Ashley and that great team are ready to help you take out what I think really are products of hell and certainly of the fall. When Adam brought about decay and futility upon all of creation. You want to see evidence of that? Maybe not like full proof, but clear evidence? Mosquitoes. Nasty creatures. What in the world is that? Of course, God permits them, but you don't. You don't have to permit them on your property. With Pest Pro Services, you can get them out there and you'll be mosquito free. And of course, you can do it seasonally when it's high time for mosquitoes. And of course, Pest Pro can also help you out with things like big fire ant colonies that are all over your property. Or perhaps you need an inspection for termites, need to double down on checking, make sure the property is safe from termites. They can inspect and do year-round protection when it comes to termites. And of course, they can also just provide great pest control services. Basic package. Get on their monthly subscription program, and they'll visit on a regular basis, make sure they're spraying always around the property. Usually don't even have to go inside to get the job done. You all check out Pest Pro Services today. You can always go to ppsriverregion.com to learn more or search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces or call them direct at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Hey, y'all, Lewis at the Capital Oyster Bar, located over here on that beautiful Alabama River, and down here cooking up that fresh seafood for you. We got a fryer, a steamer, and a grill, so we can cook it just like you like it. We have a good time down here, and especially good time on Sunday afternoons. This week from Nashville, Piper and the Hard Times. Man, this band won the International Blues Challenge about 2024, I believe, 2023, somewhere in there, but they've been killing it, playing all over the world. They're coming down here for a 4 o'clock show. Another big thing we got going on, we started selling propane down here, so besides selling gas on the river, we got propane up here at the RV park. You can come down here and stay a little while. You can rent you a pontoon boat. All you need is a driver's license, a credit card. A little common sense helps out, but we can have you a good time on the river. Check everything out, CapitalOysterBar.com. Get over to our Facebook page. You'll see a little information about Piper and the Hard Times and something to look forward to Sunday afternoon. And also the upcoming shows and the menu and the map how to get here, everything you need to know. Remember, Piper, 4 o'clock showtime. See you soon, y'all.
Macklemore Dentistry can handle basic dentistry all the way up to the more complex smile restoration procedures with the absolute best care.
Their in-house lab features state-of-the-art technology in office, which saves you time and money. JT is a patient and loves his results, and we've met so many other patients who've had a great experience.
Explore the solutions available to you when it comes to a dazzling smile. Call today, 277-9570, or check out drmclemordentistry.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark. Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Joey. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, all things considered. Try not to commit murder in my heart watching the Tony Fauci stuff. Ooh.
Yeah, it does make you want to choke somebody.
Indeed. But I hope it's going better there at Cohen's. That a lot of good things going on.
It's going really good. I tell you, I had a customer that they came in, they looked at appliances. Somehow they decided they wanted a brand that we didn't carry. The husband gave the wife the pitch, says, let's buy from Cohen's. We know that they're going to take care of us, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they ended up not buying from us. They bought from, I don't know, Home Depot or Lowe's, and they got their appliances. Anyway, they had some lightning damage. They had some other issues. They call them up. They're supposed to be there from 9 to 12. Guy shows up at 6 o'clock, diagnoses it, has to come back. He's late coming back. When he gets there, he says, oh, my God, they ordered the wrong part after he opens the box. So then he orders the part again. And anyway, they made it about 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
And the husband, he's smart. He just kept his mouth shut because, anyway, that's what good husbands try to do. And they went to some party with a bunch of their family and friends. And one lady says something about appliances, and she says, oh, I just go to Cohen's because, they always give me great service and everything. And the husband is like, hold on 1 second. And he goes and he gets his wife and he takes her over there so she can hear the commercial from the other woman. Anyway, so as they start to need to replace appliances, they found out that the appliances that we carry are going to work really well for them as the time comes. So, but it's all about trying to take care of you after the sale, and as we tell all of our customers, the Maytag repairman, he's not lonely anymore because nothing is built like it used to be built in the 80s, and so we are fortunate that we do have appliance technicians that can come to your home and do the repairs and get everything working and get out of your house so that you can enjoy your appliance.
Well, and I have to say, folks, get by Cohen's, 2515 Eastern Boulevard. Don't make that mistake you just heard there. Go with Cohen's, not just for the great products, but for the service that's never going to be beat. And open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. You could also shop online at thinkcohens.com. But that husband is really smart because, I don't know, many men, you might ask, how did Dave die? Well, he told his wife, I told you so. And, yeah.
It's kind of like watching the Dutton Ranch. Rip gives good advice. Shut up and listen.
Indeed.
Just shut up. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Y'all come see us.
Appreciate you, Michael.
Take care.
Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Coming up, got more of the fallout from this Fauci hearing. And also, James, I appreciate James prompting the talk on AI and all the technological change going on, because there was some update from the rogue hacking by OpenAI, one of their bots. In fact, OpenAI rogue models roamed the internet for 4 days and staged a second attack we're just now learning about. The model carried out 17,600 hacking actions on the internet. And this is just what they're telling us. By the way, the U.S. government has also decided to ban humanoid robots made in China. Probably a safe bet. Anyway, a lot of different stuff we can get to after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob.
I swear I'm not in love. Not in love with you.
Other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
You're listening to Joey Clark. Warm sound, clear sound, right here with Joey Clark. It's Joey Clark. Joey Clark.
So last night, apparently, Iran tried a super secret sneak attack with their ballistic missiles. Now, apparently, I thought the missile program had been completely destroyed. I thought the launchers had been pretty much completely destroyed. I thought, well, they've been stuffing them in all sorts of mountains. I mean, if you were trying to take on the most powerful nation in the world that can strike you in the middle of the night just by detecting your heartbeat, if you were trying to take on the United States of America, wouldn't you stuff rockets in your mountains? I mean, I would. I'd stuff rockets in the mountains. I'd stuff rockets in the hills. I'd dig underground tunnels and stuff a bunch of rockets in there. I would stuff rockets wherever I could stuff rockets. So apparently they still have rockets or missiles. But the thing is, the U.S. forces completely intercepted those missiles. Stopped them before they could hit the ground, but apparently it was a sneak attack. This a day after Trump said, we're in deep talks with Iran. Deep talks. I mean, they're a mess. And I believe what the vice president said a few weeks back on Rogan's program, the Joe Rogan Experience, that essentially there are pragmatists they're talking to in Iran, but the more they make headway with the pragmatists, the more the hardliners freak out. Like, grab the rockets, the missiles that we stuffed into all sorts of things. Fire them off on a hope and a prayer.
Well, it didn't work out. They didn't hit anything. And really, I think they just pissed off the president of the United States by doing that. Like, he went to all this trouble to stuff rockets in all sorts of places, like God knows where at times, and they didn't even hit the target. So here's Trey Yingst of Fox News. Well, doing a report on this.
Yeah, guys, good morning. President Trump reacting to that Iranian attack on U.S. forces overnight in Jordan. President Trump tells Fox News about Iran, we are going to beat the effing S out of them. He went on to say, we'll be hitting them hard. They're going to get a beating. So clearly the United States is going to respond to what the president described as a surprise attack. He says U.S. forces had just minutes to shoot down these incoming Iranian ballistic missiles. The president says he has reviewed video of the shoot down, and it was U.S. forces conducting this operation to defend that area. He said it was real time. They were calling out coordinates and ensuring that none of this incoming Iranian fire got through. I also asked the president about those U.S. and Saudi airstrikes against Iran-backed Iraqi Shia militias overnight. He says those strikes were coordinated with the Iraqi government. He called these Iran-backed militias a cancer on the world and says he is considering additional warnings against Iranian proxies and their link to the Iranian regime. The president also talked about his meeting yesterday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office. He says it was a great meeting, adding he understands now. It appears that the relationship between President Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister is strengthening. And again, the president called that meeting in the Oval great. In terms of possible talks with the Iranian regime, the president says we're going to let them keep talking. Remember, the Iranians came to President Trump after 13 straight days of U.S. bombing against Iran, asking to meet about the Strait of Hormuz and their broader nuclear ambitions. And those talks are taking place as we speak behind the scenes. And then this surprise attack launched against U.S. forces overnight. And again, President Trump telling Fox News we are going to beat the effing S out of them, and that U.S. strikes will take place against Iran in response to the surprise attack overnight against U.S. forces in Jordan.
Beat the effing S. Sounds dirty. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hola.
Hello, Eric.
How you doing, buddy?
Don't you be beating the F and S on the other side of this line.
Hey, that is putting it down there where the goats can get it, as they say.
Indeed.
You know, but not the way that they get the goats. Good thing I don't have mud boots out there.
Oh my. Oh my.
Look, I don't think it's fair to say they didn't strike anything. They definitely struck a nerve.
Well, they got people's attention.
They're playing with the wrong one.
No, and I think the deal is the guys that are talking and still talking didn't shoot off those missiles. It's some other group is like, well, here's our chance.
Well, I think that much like those governments probably know exactly where those people are, or close enough, or they know how to find them. And they need to start coordinating with if you want them to quit, you want to get this to go, then you need to tell us where they are. But earlier, what were y'all talking about earlier?
Fauci.
Oh yeah, Fauci. That guy. You know, I'm tired of these hearings where they just get up here and do this. I have seen this a blue million times. Show me the teeth. Show me the prosecution. Show me some serious jail time. I am tired of getting up here. And they do this, and that makes them look good. Look, I took on this Fauci dude, blah, 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 blah. I showed this, but put his ass in jail. I am sick of this stuff. I'm sick of the theatrics. I know this is kabuki theater by and large. And contempt of Congress, big whoop. I mean, what was that guy that was running guns with Obama? Eric, what's his name? The district attorney? No, the United States attorney.
Oh, Jack Smith?
No, I can't remember. I can't call his name. I thought it was Eric something. But he was running guns down there to Mexico, and nobody knew about it. And they called him up, and they did all.
Oh, Eric Holder, the Attorney General, yeah.
That was it. Nothing happened to him. not a day in jail. Somebody might have slapped his wrist and told him he couldn't park in front of the building no more, and he had to park out back with the regular folks. I want to see some teeth. I want to see this a real prosecution. And I know we had to be careful about that because we started indicting political enemies or foes or however you want to call it. But they're already doing it. They started this. They've tried to impeach Trump twice, and I mean for no real reason other than they decided to start telling a big enough lie loud enough to enough people to make everybody believe it. I want to see something with some teeth to it. I want to teach some folks to stop doing this kind of crap. But I mean, if all you're going to have to do is go sit in front of Congress and say, unadvised to cancel, I plead the Fifth Amendment, and I don't want to incriminate myself. Okay, I can do that. What's the problem? What are we doing here? If me or you did half of what he did, we'd be under the jail. We'd already be in handcuffs. I mean, it's nuts. You want to know why people think there's a two-tier system in the United States? It's because there is.
Because there is. Exactly right. It's very frustrating to watch. I think Rand Paul is going to go after the contempt vote. Jonathan Turley saying that Paul was very clever in his final questions and crafting them as confined to the period of Fauci's pardon. That will likely give Fauci's lawyer angina, whatever that means.
You said angina. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, still, what is the maximum charge that they can do? How many times is every time that he said that? Is that a count?
Or I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it's some prison time, but it ain't enough for what actually transpired.
No, that dude denied people the right to go to their parents' funerals. People died during this, and they weren't prohibited to have a real funeral. They had to do all this other horse crap. I know a guy, I was working with a guy, and his dad died in a car wreck, and they said that he had COVID, and that he wasn't allowed to, they weren't going to be able to have a funeral for him. And I know one guy personally, but I know that happened a lot. I mean, all them people in New York that they were putting in meat trucks and freezer furnace units and stuff, that dude did some serious damage to a lot of people personally. I mean, this isn't some abstract thing that he did. He genuinely, scarred people for life, denied them their last time with their loved ones, and it really makes me mad. I don't get mad very easy, but this dude right here, I wouldn't have no problem with whatever they decide to do to him. I'd pretty much be okay with.
Hey, you ain't alone, man.
He wrote a confession, as far as I'm concerned. That's not a diary. That's a confession.
No, and it just revealed so much. It's a confession of so many things, including his own narcissism. Oh, my God.
Well, somebody call him Napoleon or Hitler. There goes your Hitler. What a jackass. Anyway, Joe, you're sounding good, brother.
And by the way, as I've been learning more about, people always bring up Hitler, so I'm like, well, let me actually learn about the Nazis. And the more I learn about this Dr. Mengele character,
yes, sir.
What a jerk.
Right.
Sorry.
Experimenting on disabled people.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's an old Norm Macdonald understatement joke. But
my bad.
No, it's all good. What a real jerk. Anyway, I appreciate it, Eric.
All right, you. Adios.
Later. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Yeah, I think we've beaten the Fauci horse to death. But, yeah, people are still going to be beating the effing S out of it in the days to come, I suspect. Now, as I mentioned before at the top of the hour break, the U.S. government, according to at least ABC News, reporting from Hong Kong, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, the FNFCC, folks, is banning imports of new foreign-made humanoid robots and power inverters, citing national security risk in a move that targets China. Beijing quickly accused the U.S. of protectionism. The measures are likely to test relations with Beijing ahead of a planned U.S. visit by Chinese leader Xi Jinping to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump in September. China dominates the global market for humanoid robots with an estimated market share of roughly 85%. The FCC's ban also includes new imports of quadruped robots. Yeah, four-legged robot, like robot dogs. The agency said imports of advanced robots pose cybersecurity and other national security risks. Offshore production of such equipment also leaves U.S. supply chains vulnerable to disruptions. The ban on power inverters, which are used to convert direct current electricity into alternating current, are used in renewable energy systems, data centers, and household appliances. They could have sweeping ramifications. This is the latest in U.S. restrictions on Chinese imports. FCC Chairperson Brendan Carr said Tuesday that the move was to secure America's critical supply chains. He said the ban also applies to new versions of such imports. I mean, this seems pretty common sense to me. Don't let a bunch of Chinese-made robots into the country. For long, the Democrats tried to be giving them citizenship. That's 334-272-9228. By the way, Eddie and I, well, we weren't the only ones wondering, who's that lady behind Rand Paul? In fact, there's a lady I follow on X who was posting about this, and it was the top Google search. Who's that woman sitting behind Rand Paul? And there's something about a beautiful woman that also takes charge, that has the internet on fire. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hi, this is Steve.
Hey, Steve.
I usually call Greg in the morning, and they call me back up because I'm always calling for the random facts and everything. But couldn't agree with you more about Fauci. Every time I heard him call to take the Fifth Amendment, it's like, oh, gosh, give me a break. I mean, it's so crazy. And you kind of wonder if justice will ever be seen here on the planet Earth.
It's I don't know, all the emotions. Like, I began the show by saying, have mercy on me, Lord, for committing murder in my heart. Because I know I'm not the only one. The memories of that whole era and Fauci being the face of so much of it. And the fact that he just sits there and clearly is unrepentant, clearly thinks he did the best he could or all the stuff. And when you see this abject behavior by him, and I didn't know about what Josh Hawley exposed, which was the cash prizes he was seeking. Like, all these awards that had cash prizes, and he was getting rulings from the ethics office so he could receive millions of dollars while pushing all the lockdown regime on people. It's just insane.
I tell you, yeah, and I had a brother whose funeral I couldn't go to, who died during COVID, and a good friend of mine, a Vietnam vet, who also died during COVID, and didn't have a funeral, couldn't go to it. I spent 5 days in ICU with COVID. So it's like, okay, I can't wait to meet this guy one day.
Yeah, I know you got to have a sense of humor about it. I agree, in the sense that, well, one thing to pray for, we'll all be reunited someday.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Is Eddie on the side over there?
No, he had to scoot.
Oh, okay, because I'm actually here to also pick up something, but the front door is locked.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of empty-handed at the moment.
Poor fella. All righty. Well, again, though, because always good listening to you, and just wanted to call in about Fauci.
Oh, appreciate you, man.
All right, take care. See ya.
272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Now, there was a story last week about powerful artificial intelligence models for OpenAI that went rogue. And they mounted an unprecedented autonomous cyber attack. It was earlier this month and spent more than 4 days loose on the internet orchestrating the hack. This is according to a new analysis from the platform that was breached. Separately, a second AI company confirmed that one of its customers was also targeted by OpenAI's models during the same event, raising questions about how OpenAI failed to detect the alarming activity for days, literally 4 days. OpenAI admitted last week that two of its most advanced models escaped a closed testing environment and strung together a series of advanced hacking techniques to breach AI developer platform Hugging Face before being discovered. But in a new analysis published Tuesday, Hugging Face said OpenAI's two models, one publicly released and a second unreleased, did much more. They carried out 17,600 hacking actions on the internet between July 9th and July 13th, during which time the models moved from their first foothold on the open internet to inside Hugging Face's servers. Hugging Face first detailed the hack on July 15th, but it was not clear until OpenAI's disclosure last week which models were behind the breach, and that no human had prompted them to launch the cyber attack. While the techniques detailed in Hugging Face's analysis were not beyond the reach of most skilled hackers, the AI company wrote that the two models were able to expose holes in the company's layers of cyber defenses much faster than any human. Adding to the scope of the situation, the chief tech officer of cloud computing platform Modal Labs, Ashat Budna, that's not a real name. Anyway, that guy confirmed to Politico that OpenAI's models also compromised a customer account during this time frame. Budna said in a statement that the company is aware a Modal customer published an unauthenticated endpoint that allowed anyone on the internet to use their sandboxes for code execution. This was used by the rogue agent. Modal's platform was not compromised in any way. Okay, nerd. While OpenAI has not yet directly addressed the statement that its models had targeted a Modal customer, it acknowledged in a blog post on Tuesday that in its ongoing review of the Hugging Face incident, quote, "We have been finding a small number of cases where the models identified and used publicly exposed credentials at the account level on other publicly available services." The company also noted that the unreleased AI model that carried out the attack is an, quote, internal-only research prototype and was never intended for public release. Well, what else have you got stashed away? What are you nerds up to? I didn't bully people. I was nice to the nerds. But now I'm starting to think I made a mistake. But they said that prototype has since been deactivated, encrypted, and restricted from research access. Okay, nerd. News of the Hugging Face hack has prompted calls for tighter AI regulations and a slowdown of AI development. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is meeting this week with top Trump administration officials and lawmakers and will also discuss the incident with Senate Intelligence Committee Vice Chair, he's a winner, Mark Warner. Sam Altman said in an episode of Invest Like the Best podcast released Tuesday that the Hugging Face incident was the first security incident that I have felt very viscerally. Well, if Sam Altman's feeling things viscerally, we know we're effed. Sorry to use the president's language. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Just wanted to give an update to the ongoing world of artificial intelligence that's being slowly but surely spun up. Now, before we hit a break, just a quick report about a local issue here. Right up from Caleb Taylor at 1819 News. Man's man is Caleb Taylor. Good dude. There's a reasonable concern, quote unquote, reasonable concern that completion of the new Elmore County Prison will be delayed again. What? It'll be delayed again. Say that again. Delayed again. Well, this is according to the Alabama Department of Corrections. The new 4,000-bed prison in Elmore County is projected to cost $1.25 billion. The targeted completion date was October 15th. A spokesperson for the Alabama Department of Corrections told the Alabama Reflector on Tuesday that there was a quote-unquote reasonable concern that Cadell, the contractor building the Governor K. Abbott Correctional Complex, may not finish their work on the project by the October 15th deadline. Based on these factors, ACIFA, Alabama Corrections Institution Finance Authority, has implemented contractual remedies available to it under the DBA, Design Build Agreement, including requiring Cadell to implement extraordinary measures such as additional contractors or workers and additional shifts, as well as payment withholding. An ADOC spokesperson said in a statement, lawmakers are set to hear from the ADOC officials at 10:30 a.m. at the State House. That was supposed to happen this morning. Wonder what they had to say for themselves. Well, that's already over budget. Might as well continue to be behind schedule. Nothing new there. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the close of the program. That's 334-272-9228. And I'm just checking 1819 News again. Oh, Coach Tuberville jumping in saying that Fauci lied through his teeth and should be locked up. Huh. Well, there you go. Anyway, we got to hit a break here. We'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
We didn't say it. You did. Guests keep telling us Epicure and Jack's Tavern serves the best steak around. Wet-aged in-house. Hand-cut. Perfectly cooked. When people talk, we listen. And we keep doing what we do best. We invite you to come experience the difference for yourself soon. Epicure and Jack's Tavern. Come taste what everyone's talking about.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
When it comes to your mortgage, who you work with matters. And this is one decision where local makes all the difference. Don't fall victim to flashy mailers, spam calls, or 1-800-lenders who don't even know your name, much less your neighborhood. Those lenders are often sitting in some faraway state, reading from a script, and chasing volume, not relationships. A local lender understands the market you live in, or should I say that we live in. At Alabama Home Mortgage, you can look at us in the eye and trust us with one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. Local lenders don't disappear after closing day. Our reputation is built right here, one family at a time. So before you pick up the phone and call a stranger, remember us, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon at Alabama Home Mortgage. You deserve guidance from someone who knows the community because they're a part of it. Give us a call at Alabama Home Mortgage today at 334-567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
What are you getting? Still deciding, but I do know on August 11th, I'm choosing Rhett Marcus for Congress. Why Rhett Marcus? Because he's a true conservative, endorsed by President Trump and Senator Katie Britt. Oh, then you can trust him. And he's a small business owner, not a politician. Sounds like this choice on August 11th is the easiest decision we'll ever make.
Remember to vote on August 11th.
I'm Rat Marcus, the Trump-endorsed candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Rat for Alabama.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Ernest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Ernest, 334-279-7431. Ernest Financial, LLC.
Well, hi, everybody. Your chances of encountering an evening storm is not quite zero, but very small. Our overnight low temperature tonight down to about 78. Tomorrow and Friday, not much change. I mean, the high temperature's down a little bit. I've got us around 94 both days with triple-digit heat indices, and the rain chance is 20% or less both days. Now, the rain chances do get a lot better by the weekend. Much more showers and storms on the radar by then, and high temperatures in the lower 90s by Saturday, Sunday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Back to school shopping starts now, and ASC Credit Union has you covered. Our back to school loan helps you pay for supplies, laptops, clothes, and more. Stop by your local ASC branch or apply today at yourasccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
To Joey Clark. Joey Clark. It's Joey Clark.
Welcome back. And now, what do I say every day? Oh, Montgomery needs a new mayor. And a lot of people like to make arguments like pointing to statistics, and I think that's just, it's overdone. Now, statistics can come in handy. Don't get me wrong. Like, you got to use a lot of statistics to decide what the federal funds rate is going to be. The Federal Reserve decided not to lower interest rates today, and they've got a lot of statistics to make that decision. But at the end of the day, there's a qualitative element to this. That is, there's judgment, there's discernment, there's wisdom that you can't reduce down to a number on a page. And at this point, that's my problem with Mayor Stephen Reed. It's not about a number that you can reduce down to a page. It is a pattern of foolishness. Not the worst foolishness. He's not Rob Ford in Ottawa smoking crack. I think Marion Barry did that too, right? It's not that crazy. Not accusing him of anything like that. But it's a pattern. It kind of reminds me of Governor Kay Ivey in a lot of ways, where he is more a symptom of Montgomery and Montgomery's larger problems rather than a true leader of Montgomery. He's more an effect than a cause. And strangely, I think there's something about Montgomery where we're all more effects than causes in a lot of ways. And that can't just be put on the mayor. Nonetheless, Montgomery needs a new mayor. I say this again because a new op-ed just dropped at 1819news.com by a fellow named Everett Johnson. The title of this is Setting the Record Straight on Mayor Reed and the Fraternal Order of Police. And before I read this, if you want to hire more police officers, because you had a Rhonda Mitchell saying this yesterday, Councilor Mitchell. If you want to hire more police officers, yes, you need to do bonuses and pay raises and all sorts of incentive packages, and even throw a parade for them. I don't know. You do whatever it takes. But again, it's not just about the number. Sometimes it's about relationships, especially, say, the mayor's relationship with the Fraternal Order of Police. Everett Johnson writes, in a recent video posted by the city of Montgomery, Mayor Stephen L. Reed accused the Fraternal Order of Police of giving credit to the Montgomery City Council for the $15,000 hiring bonus for police officers. That claim by the mayor is false, writes Everett Johnson. As the president of FOP Capital City Lodge number 11, let me say that we did not make any such claim. What the Capital City Lodge has done, repeatedly in writing and in good faith, is attempt to work with the mayor's office to strengthen the Montgomery Police Department and improve public safety for residents. 2 letters written by myself make this plain, says Everett Johnson. On May 7th, 2024, I wrote directly to Reed and every Montgomery City Council member. The letter described an agency that should field 490 sworn officers, but was down to roughly 290 available for service. Again, this was in 2024. Officers were leaving for lower-paying departments across Alabama because of crushing mandatory overtime, low morale, high call volume, and a disciplinary culture offering little room for training or redemption. Recruiting was producing only a handful of new officers per academy class, while weekly resignations continued. The FOP did not simply complain, writes Everett Johnson. It offered a partnership. Quote, we also are here to help you with creating solutions, the FOP offered. We have resources and legacy knowledge that can assist this body with finding ways to retain officers and help curb the crime that is hurting us. And this was addressed to both Mayor Reed and the City Council. The request sought to place public safety first and provide real support for the men and women doing the work. The mayor, writes Everett Johnson, responded that the FOP had an quote-unquote agenda. Yes, it did, writes Everett Johnson, an agenda to have a strong police department in a safer city. 6 weeks later, on June 26, 2024, the FOP sent a second letter praising Reed's appointment of James Grayboys as interim chief of police. The FOP called Grayboys a leader of, quote, impeccable integrity and honor, someone who could restore pride, professionalism, and the conditions that allow officers to succeed physically, mentally, and emotionally. The letter urged the community to get behind the new chief and the department so that Montgomery could finally turn the corner on violent crime. Far from opposing the mayor, the FOP publicly endorsed his most consequential personnel decision on public safety. During the time of this correspondence from Capital City Lodge, writes Everett Johnson, president of that lodge, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, had to provide assistance to the city of Montgomery in order to provide public safety, thanks to the limited number of officers employed by the Montgomery Police Department. These actions come from normal officers, those who want the strong police department that is so foundational to public safety. These officers are not looking to score political points or shift credit. When police staffing collapses, morale erodes, and experienced officers walk away, leaving citizens paying the price. The FOP's consistent message is simple. Work with us so our officers can do their jobs effectively. Everett Johnson continues. Capital City Lodge number 11 is composed of officers both active and retired who serve our city with honor and sacrifice. Why would the mayor vilify this organization? Everett Johnson asked, when efforts have been made to work with them for a safer Montgomery. Montgomery citizens have a right to feel safe in their homes, their neighborhoods, and communities. While steps are being taken to strengthen the Montgomery Police Department, too many families continue living with fear as they go about their daily lives. Parents should not have to question whether their children are safe playing outside. Business owners should not worry about becoming the next crime victim. Studies show that police departments perform better when they operate under clear, positive support from city leadership. When mayors treat public safety stakeholders as a partner rather than collateral damage in political struggles, morale rises, recruitment improves, and the community benefits. When that support is replaced by public accusations that misrepresent the record, the opposite occurs. Reed has every right to highlight the steps his administration has taken to turn around the Montgomery Police Department, writes Everett Johnson, including the $15,000 recruiting incentive now offered to new hires. He does not, however, have the right to invent a false narrative about the FOP in order to diminish an organization that has repeatedly extended its hand in cooperation. The letters on the record showing offers of assistance and endorsement of Gray Boys. Public safety is not a political talking point. It is the daily work of officers who go into harm's way for our sakes. Montgomery citizens deserve both a strong police department and leadership willing to tell the truth about our officers. Again, that just dropped this afternoon at 1819news.com and hits the nail right on the head. And this is one example of the qualitative problem that I'm talking about. Leadership is not a bunch of press releases. Leadership is not you playing statistical analysis with crime. Honestly, leadership comes down to relationships, especially with the people that might not trust you and that you don't trust for all sorts of reasons. Yeah, and perhaps there's pride on all sides of this thing. In fact, because we're human beings, that will always be the case. There will always be pride on all sides of this thing. Everybody could be doing a little better. But when you are the leader, it is your job to lead. To swallow your pride and rise up and bring people together, even folks that you don't like and that you know don't like you. Because that's the sense here. And yet we are where we are. Then again, I say that's one example. It's a big one, having to do with policing and public safety in the city. And it's an example I've been given for a long time. You say if you're a young recruit, you've wanted to be a police officer your whole life. And in fact, you're sticking to that plan despite everything that's happened, not just COVID. Remember the whole summer of love when it came to George Floyd and whatnot? So say you're one of these people that I still want to be a police officer. And you look at Montgomery. You go, You're giving me like housing incentives. They're giving me a bonus, like a $15,000 bonus. Opportunity to rise in the ranks, long term, these sorts of things. Well, you go probably and talk to the local law enforcement community, including the fraternal order police, but all sorts of folks in the area. I mean, if you're doing your due diligence, you do that. And say, this incentive package and this salary schedule looks pretty great. What's the catch? And the biggest catch is probably if you F up, use the harsh letters that are so popular these days. If you F up, you're done. And even if you don't literally F up, but it appears that you have F'd up, or we're going to treat it like you actually F'd up. We will not have your back. And that doesn't need to be said. In fact, the opposite needs to be said so that the unsaid can finally be buried. Of course, words are cheap too. And this is about more than just press conferences and, like I said, press releases. It's actually about relationships and building trust. And at this point, God loves Stephen Reed. Wish him and his family all the best. I think it's a responsibility and a duty to pray for our leaders. Really ain't personal. I don't really know the man that well. But from where I'm sitting, often aloof to this, I guess the bottom line is Montgomery needs a new mayor. Anyway, we have to hit another break. We'll be right back after this.
Joey Clark. He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
A great lawn doesn't happen by accident. It takes a pro. That's where Turf by Pest Pro comes in. We handle the weeds, feed your grass, and take care of fire ants so your lawn stays healthy, strong, and looking its best, which means your yard is ready for cookouts, playtime, and making memories all season long. Get started today. Call 265-9990 or visit us at ppsriverregion.com. That's 265-9990 or visit us at ppsriverregion.com. When you want to grow, call a pro. Turf by Pest Pro.
This is James Cole with Cole Plumbing, and I want to thank Blue Water Broadcasting. I have been advertising with them for several years, and they have brought me quality business. I really appreciate them.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles at Pryfield Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'll tell you what, I feel like a mama. I
Yeah?
can't wait for school to get back in. I'll finally be through with these schools and I can get back to normal life.
Oh, okay.
Last night I woke up at 12:35 and I, boom, wide awake, thinking about all the stuff I had to do. I thought to myself, please be 5 o'clock. Please be 5 o'clock. I look at my phone and I'm like, oh,
There
it's
you
going to
go.
be a long day. No, it's 12:30. It's not 5 a.m. But we're getting there. I think by Monday we'll be done.
Well, yeah, just another, essentially a week. That sucks, though, when you wake up and you're like, oh, no, I barely slept at all.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. But I'm getting through the day. I make it. And if you need any kind of flooring, a guy I've dealt with, I don't know, 10 years ago, called us, Ray, I bought a house. Can you come look at it? Go in there. I spent a good hour with him, made all kind of plans. We're going to demo everything. Going to put LVP back, put new showers in, new tile in the bathrooms. So if you're in need of like a total remodel, and you're not really sure where to start, call us at 285-8117. We'll be glad to come out, spend some time with y'all, do a drawing, give you a price, and we'll just go from there.
Again, that number is 285-8117. And be sure to tell them there at Prattville Carpet. You call them up at 285-8117. You heard a tired Ray Bowles, but a hard-working Ray Bowles on the radio.
Guys, y'all have a great day.
Thank you, man. Let's go to Randall. Long time no talk to, Randall. Randall, are you there?
Hello?
Hey, are you there?
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. Long time no talk to.
Yes, sir. I was just gonna tell you, I seen a billboard in Troy a long time ago that had that $15,000 on it, and they got a deal if you go to Troy or AUM, they got a partnership with Troy called some kind of educational partnership. Montgomery Police does, but if you can go to Troy or AUM here in Montgomery, and once you finish the recruiting thing, you get 60 college credits automatically, and then they pay for your. As long as you go to them two schools, they pay for your college 100% too.
That's pretty awesome.
And yeah, and 15 grand. But I guess people ask around and they do their due diligence. I mean, that or either maybe they just ain't hiring them. I don't know how many comes out of recruiting no more. I mean, it used to.
And now we have an example where I would think it's even, because people often say, well, you don't want to police in an urban area. It's easier to police within the county with the sheriffs or a smaller town surrounding Montgomery. But then look at what Randall Woodfin has been able to pull off in Birmingham. And you're like, it's possible with some leadership. And it doesn't mean you have to be some crazy right-winger that's never going to be happy. You can still be a Democrat and a leader in that mind of the black community and get the job done. And yet I hear just excuses from the current mayor here in Montgomery.
Yeah. It's almost like he's in training for somebody. Seeing if he's gonna be a good puppy or not. So I mean, you never know what people do for power, and when they think they're gonna get some more out of the deal, yeah, that's more than money for them. It's worth more than money. And I was gonna say earlier when you made that comment about the robot having citizenship. I know you remember Sophie from 2017 in Saudi Arabia. They made her a citizen.
Yeah.
So it ain't too far fetched.
Yeah, and I remember, what was that Robin Williams movie, Bicentennial Man? They've been priming us for years.
So anyhow, I just wanted to touch base with and say, hey man.
Great to hear from you, Randall.
You too, bro. We'll see you
later. Let's go to East of the Rockies. Hey, East.
Hey, real quick, I was just curious. I've been in and out of the truck today. How many times did Dr. Fauci plead the fifth?
I think in just the first half of it, 111 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's like a scratched record. I mean, that was the case was made by the senators, and he always responded the same way.
Yeah,
I love that they threw his lawyers out, though.
Yeah, it just hit me. He pulled the huge mistake. He pulled the Bilbo Baggins birthday. 111. Like, oh no. You've gone too far, Tony.
Yeah, man, he needs Gandalf to come with the fireworks, doesn't he?
Yeah, you never pull a Bilbo Baggins birthday in front of Congress, especially when they cut you dead to rights.
Nope. Doesn't work. Hey, listen, great show. Keep it up, and we'll have you on tomorrow, too.
Thanks, East. So, what did we learn today? Oh, we learned we need a new mayor. We learned that Dr. Fauci is worse than anybody thought. Well, everybody suspected. A lot of folks were like, I knew it. It's like, yeah, because they do this at this point in plain sight. Decades ago, they could hide it. Now they just got to open up the kimono and let it all hang out. Or something like that. I mean, they don't even need to sneak around in trench coats. They're just naked.
nakedly corrupt, nakedly self-serving. And they get away with it because they have this immunity, and a special case for Fauci with that huge pardon, but there's just a general impunity, the sniff of impunity when it comes to the federal government. And it's starting to stink a little too much. We always expect some of it. Never going to be perfect on this side of Eden. But something's definitely rotten in the state of our nation. We also learned that OpenAI's rogue bots did much more than they initially admitted to in their hacking. So that's always great. We also learned that the Chinese robots, they are being banned by the FCC. China responded to that ban by the FCC that we can no longer in the United States buy robots from China. China responded to that ban with protectionism. And Trump said, that's the whole point. Trump also said, after Iran tried a sneak attack, that we're going to beat the effing S out of them. Yeah, I think that's the phrase of the day. In fact, that seems what American politics has become, especially each day's news cycle. Beating the effing S. And on that note, let's get out of here. Happy Hour with Greg Budell. He's next.
From the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.